Welcome back, guys.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Happy June.
Happy June.
So excited that you're here. It is Father's Day month
It's
here
Father's
on Mom's
Day
the
month.
Word.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I'm Paige.
I'm Cyndi, and this
Is
is Mom's the Word, where mom knows best.
Or at least she is trying her best.
Or do dads know best?
Or do dads know best?
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure. I'm not a dad, so I wouldn't know.
No.
I wouldn't know what they're going through. So
really
let's
don't.
ask some dads what they're going through. And let's start off with one that's been highly requested to be in
Highly
front of our
requested.
cameras. Very much so. Ladies and gentlemen, we would love if you would meet Ben.
Welcome, Ben, you guys.
Hello,
oh
Ben.
my gosh.
Hello.
Benjamin Hernandez.
Oh, wow, government name.
Wow.
It's going to be down here like on the screen anyways, unless he just puts
His
Ben.
Instagram.
I would
No.
like to apologize to Sandra in advance. I know you hate when I talk and I'm on the podcast.
Oh my God.
You should click off right now. Okay?
Who's that? Sandra.
That's his favorite troll.
My favorite troll.
Oh, do you have someone that
No, I just
you?
remember like 7 episodes ago, there was a
Yeah.
one who was like, well, we don't listen to this for Ben. He should not be talking. So you can turn off the episode now. I
Oh
promise.
my God, no, you
This
guys.
one's dedicated.
No, I'm kidding.
to
Hey,
Ben.
make sure you make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Share with 3
Love
friends.
it. I love it. Please do.
If you share with 5 friends, you'll be entered into a drawing for Jay's car. We're going to give away Jay's car at the end of the month.
It's a nice one.
So,
No, you guys are going to want to listen to Ben. Ben has a lot of insightful information, you guys.
Ben has some interesting stories as well.
He really does. But Ben's usually behind the camera. You guys know he is.
no, this is picking up a lot of... Jay, will you pull my
A
slider
lot
number
of Jay's
3?
creaky chair.
Will you pull it down just slightly? Yeah, pull that one down slightly. Okay, perfect. I'm just loud. I don't want to be...
Over us?
Yeah.
I'm
You
always
don't
the
wanna be
loudest one for some
screaming?
I have to
reason.
bump y'all up like 15 decibels every time.
Really?
Yeah, the maximum that Premiere will allow
I feel like
me.
I'm talking loud.
I do too. I feel like I'm talking very
Well,
loud.
everybody's complaining. Jay, will you pull it up just a little bit? Sorry. our executive producer, Jay, is currently working.
He is.
Okay, that's the
working
sweet
on
spot.
it.
That's the sweet spot.
Oh. So Ben is, you guys, our film editor.
Yeah.
All of the things.
I think producer kind of covers
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
'Cause,
yeah,
like,
that's
I
right.
film
There's a
it,
word for that.
I edit the audio.
He's like, give me a title.
Actually, I'm
Come
the
on
producer.
now.
I'm trying to keep you guys from having to talk 5 minutes about me. So
We're gonna have to talk
But-
this whole hour about
Yeah.
you, buddy.
Yeah.
It's
but
all about
not
you.
only is he a producer, all of our people around us are parents. And Ben is a parent.
And an entrepreneur.
yes.
Yes.
And a great entrepreneur. In fact, do you want to talk about your business?
Yeah, let's hear
first?
about it, Ben.
Great is subjective. I am a dedicated entrepreneur, and I'm still standing despite how difficult things are. So my wife and I we're a blended family. We've got 6 total children.
Yeah.
I brought 3. She brought 2. We just had baby David. He's so cute. I'll put a photo of him in right here. He's super cute. Look at him.
So
Look at how
So
cute he is.
cute.
little
Damn,
baby.
He's so adorable. And we're both entrepreneurs. So she is a photographer. She owns a studio. She does product photography for an unknown baby clothing company that I won't mention. And then I own and operate a coffee company called Revolution Coffee Co. We've got a location up in Texoma in Denison, and then we've got a location in Anchorage, Alaska.
Of all places.
Well, we got I got a contract with the military to open up on military base up there. So
Amazing.
It's been fun. My parents, I moved them up there to run it for me. So
Oh, wow.
they're living my
Oh.
dream. Yeah.
Is that your dream to move to Alaska?
Yeah, it's
Really?
freaking dude. So there's this quote in the Ted Stevens International Airport, and I don't remember the full quote, but it talks about how like some people are just born Alaskans. There are people who live their entire life in Alaska and are never Alaskans, and there are people who step off the plane and are Alaskans immediately. And my first trip there, I was like, oh yeah,
I would assume I'm not one.
it's the last
Yeah,
frontier.
I'm not. I'm
It's
for
the
sure
last
not.
frontier, and it's like
That's why
there's
you love it.
wilderness everywhere. Everybody wants to work together to succeed. It's not like this faux business culture where it's like, yeah, girl, you're doing great, but secretly they're like, fuck her, I hope she fails. So everybody's very cooperative, and they're just. If you have the stones to do something bold, you're rewarded for it in Alaska.
Nice.
And they pay you to live there.
Yeah.
You get oil dividends every year.
I
which
think
is
it's really
great.
interesting.
Oh, wow.
Like the pictures you send are beautiful, but I'm like, I would never survive there.
The winters are tough, but like my dad's so funny. It's his dream for sure. I don't know how like Mexicans wake up dreaming of Alaska, but he was one of those. And he's posting like progress photos for his Facebook followers, and like the sun is setting later and later. So he
Yeah.
posted a photo at 11 p.m. the other day, and the sun was still setting. So I know in the peak of summer, it's like 4 a.m. and the sun is still setting. It just perpetually sets and then it rises.
Yeah.
And that's like, where else are you going to see
Yeah,
that? Like,
nowhere.
That's something to experience. And so I think it's just the amazingness of it. Seeing a moose. I'm like leaving a neighborhood to go to my shop. There's like a moose just chilling.
I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to visit.
Definitely visit in the summer. There's like a ton of fishing, a ton of hiking. If you want to go shoot a moose, you can do that as well. Now it's a legit thing though. Like the people up there, when they hunt for real. They hunt and they use every piece of the animal. Nobody's just like, yeah, I got a cool moose.
So it's common
head.
to hunt for a moose there.
You will fill your freezer and eat that moose until it's gone.
I don't think I would like to eat
fish
moose.
for salmon. It's great. It's very good. It's very good.
I'm good without it. I'm good without it.
Have you ever had venison
satisfied. Yeah. Okay, so my dad's a hunting and fishing guide, so plenty of times. And I love a good backstrap dinner night, but other than that, not really.
I don't like gaming meat.
Jay is like this.
Was it the word backstrap?
I didn't even know what that was. I was like, she likes the backstrap.
Jay just went, look, clutched his
Like he just said the
pearls.
funniest thing.
What is that?
Well, so moose is like venison, but it's less gamey.
Oh yeah, venison.
Oh,
is
see, then
so
I probably
gamey,
like
so
it. I don't like gaming.
A lot of people's their their deal with venison is that it's gamey. So
yeah.
I don't.
I do love salmon though, and I bet that's the best salmon you could ever get.
I stayed at an Airbnb of this guy who does like Northern Lights tours, and as we were leaving,
That's a dream right
every
there.
Airbnb I've stayed at has been awesome. I stayed with a guy who did Northern Lights tours and photography. I stayed with a guy who owns one of my favorite restaurant chains up there, and he like gave me all this business advice.
Oh my gosh.
But the Northern Lights tour guide, as we were leaving, he's like, "Hey, I have so much salmon in my freezer,
my
and I can't
gosh,
eat
I
it."
would
Like,
love that.
He and his wife are disabled, so they can actually pass off their fishing allowance to a friend. Their friend can proxy fish for them, and so he had like 60, 70 fillets in his freezer, and he sent me home with 8 of them.
Oh my gosh.
So I went through TSA
So
with a
good.
suitcase full of salmon. I was like, I got some bricks in there. Just pop it open. So yeah, we've got a coffee shop. I do videography, obviously. I do podcast production.
You make video games?
Sort of. Yeah, I'm not advertising that. That's a passion project. My brother Sam has really taken lead. He's been voluntarily unemployed for like 7 months. His company had a reduction in workforce, but he's been in IT for like a decade. So he's just been stacking money. So he put his wife through law school. And
amazing.
So when he got laid off, he was like, it's her turn. She's taking care of me for a little bit. So he stayed at home. He's been with the baby and his daughter Ellie. But he's really been passionate about. Like we grew up playing video games. We grew up in that video game culture, but we want to produce something good. So in January, we did a fun game jam and created a game called Get a Job. And it's like bare bones. We had a week. We had a week to do it. And I had 0 experience in Unreal Engine. They had minimal experience, but we put our minds to it. And like I learned how to code dialogue trees and do all this crazy shit. And my wife and I recorded voice lines for the game. And we just did like little, and then I would modulate them a little bit. It was really cute.
I think it's so cool that you do it. So that's why I was like, well, you make video games because I would never be able to do that.
No.
So I think it's cool.
My son Dylan
YouTube.
is very interested.
Put him on YouTube. That's where I learned
I think
everything.
he'll end up doing that like as a career. Like, I
Yeah.
think he'll genuinely be a video game
very
developer.
cool.
This is the time to do it. So, by no means do I make video games. I want to get involved in that. I unfortunately have too much on my plate. So we homeschool our kids. I teach at our homeschool co-op. So just a lot on the plate. Not a lot of free time.
Yeah.
But I still make time for.
I don't honestly. He does a
personal
lot,
enjoyment.
you guys. Like, I think I'm busy, and then I'm like, well, Ben can run businesses, homeschool all of his kids. Like, there's a ton going on. Like, your time management must be just amazing.
It's crammed. Like even this weekend's at the time of this recording, this weekend is I got to record this, then I've got to get home, spend time with my wife and baby, go to my buddy's house at 5 p.m. so we can go camping in Oklahoma for his bachelor party that I've planned. And then he's getting married tomorrow, so we've got to get out, somehow go to the gun range in the morning. I've also got to get to storage to get the coffee cart in the back of my truck so that I can cater a Mother's Day event at a church Sunday morning. So it's just like
Literally nonstop.
it's not that enjoyable though. Okay, I like the bachelor party. Super stoked for. I love camping. I love my buddy John. He's great. But I don't. I told my wife when I got back from Grand Rapids last week that I can't be this busy anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Time comes
It's
where
not
you're like,
sustainable.
I don't feel like I'm giving 100% of myself to anything. And so, I don't want to half-ass a bunch of stuff. I want to whole-ass very important things. So
Yeah.
while I am super busy, I'm not advocating that lifestyle. I don't think you should do that. We put a bunch of irons and a bunch of fires because our goal is to pay off as much debt as humanly possible before the baby got here. And we paid off 41% of our debt before he got
Amazing.
here, which is phenomenal. We're talking like 5 figures of debt and then some paid off. But my blood pressure was like 172 over 121, and I was just having breakfast with my wife. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm good now. At the doctor last week, 141.
That's dangerous.
It was dangerous.
You can't be living that fast life,
You
Ben.
can't.
It's funny because, like, from the outside, it looks like you live a slow life. And I mean that in a respectful way, meaning like you raise chickens, you homeschool your children, you're involved in all of their sports, but then behind the scenes, you're also running all of these other things. So that's crazy. And but it sounds to me like you have a great team with your wife, because that means she's home with the kids a lot. And
currently she's, she worked really hard. She saved up for like 3 or 4 months of maternity leave. And my hope is that by the time her maternity leave is over, I have pulled in enough income that she can decide what she wants to do. If she wants to go back to work or if she wants to stay home with the kids. Because this morning, the text was, I just want to do this. I want to stay at home with the kids and the baby full time at homeschool. Yeah. And I want to be able to enable that. She wants to work. She's a brilliant businesswoman. I want her to be able to work. But I want her to work and do what she does because she loves it, not because she feels like she has to.
Right.
Wonderful photographers. She did my wedding.
She's so good, guys. I'm going to insert. Yeah. Look at this photo of Paige getting married.
Wow.
Whoa. They did that, you guys.
She did that.
Great job, Amanda. But yeah, I know from the outside it looks really slow, but it's
not.
I get to stay home with the kids during the week, but I'm constantly like stressed out. I wake up putting out fires at work, and I will say my parents have been great running the shop in Alaska. They've taken a lot under their belt, and they've kind of set the bar for what I should be looking for in general managers, because they just want the company to make as much money as humanly possible. They offered like, hey, if we ever get in a pinch, we can pay rent if we need to. Like we'll buy supplies for the shop, which we don't need to, but it's just like, okay, so we're gonna be okay.
They're invested.
Yeah, and the company's at this point where I want to. I don't really count us as a small business anymore. I really want to aim for like medium to large business. My goal is to like get out of this economic recession, depression, whatever it turns into, as one of like what Ford did during the depression, come out as a titan. And so that requires me to buckle down and really like focus on it. So I can't do a million different jobs. I can do the podcast, but I can't go film something every other 3 days, And so it's just taking the diversification that I needed for us to survive and get to where we are, and focusing all my energy into things that I actually care about, like this podcast.
Yeah.
Like Mom's the Word on Spotify and YouTube.
No, it's super important for all of us to know or hear.
You brought up something that I'm like, the small business factor. What do you qualify as a small business? Because to me, in my brain, it's the little people working. You can be pumping out big numbers. You can be pumping out huge numbers and be a very successful small business. But in my brain, it's a non-corporation, somebody that's not been bought out. It's somebody like you who is an owner that's in there, blood, sweat, and tears, putting in their work and doing things like that. Even if you turn out huge numbers, to me, it feels like a small business is... You're still a small business to me, even if you're like the most successful on the planet. You're still not a sellout to like the big, what is it, like General Mills and like the big people that own pretty much everything, umbrella over it all,
Procter
PepsiCo, right?
Which we love them so much. We love our corporate sponsor us. There's actually the SBA has a definition for wouldn't that be awesome?
We wish we had them as well.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice?
The SBA has a definition for small business, and I don't remember what it is, but it's like a certain revenue amount per year, and then like the amount of people you employ. And once you get past that, you're considered a large business. So once I stop qualifying for small business grants and stuff like that, I'm not a small business.
Okay.
But
interesting.
There it is.
I would still consider it because you're still the one doing all of the things, one person.
Oh, not for much longer.
I would just say you're a small business with great success.
I'm going to get an accountant as soon as I can, like a CFO.
That means you're doing great then.
Yeah. Well, then I have to pay their payroll as well. So everything has stress. People don't realize as your company grows, your stress doesn't diminish, it just changes. The stakes get higher. Instead of one location where 6 people work, suddenly you have several locations where like 50 people work. And there's a great example of a company called Foxtrot in Dallas. I don't know if you guys heard about this. It was like a boutique grocery store that sold really high-end retail. They had some coffee components. Like all 20 or 30 of their locations closed.
Oh, wow.
They got like an hour notice. All the employees did. They laid off over 1,000 people in an hour. Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's terrible. And it's, you can analyze why a million different ways, but it's just, that's my nightmare.
Yeah.
My dream is providing for people and giving them an opportunity to combat the ever increasing cost of everything. My nightmare is being like, hey, we failed. Sorry.
I know.
You don't have a job in 6 weeks. I'm very sorry. So that's a big amount of stress on me. And my wife is, she's like, you're doing great. Like, but it's like, that could change.
It could change
in
at any
2
time.
weeks. It could change in 2 weeks. So I always have to be like ready. So again, I don't advocate the fast-paced lifestyle. Pick one thing you really enjoy, focus on it.
Yeah.
Diversify if you can. I know in this economy you have to diversify. Unfortunately, most people are working a full-time job and then doing some sort of Uber or Uber Eats or whatever it is, which like there's no shame in that.
For
money.
sure.
Like do what you got to do.
Sure.
There's no shame in side hustles. Don't let anybody shame you for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
The people on YouTube shaming you are just able to do that because they've scammed a lot of people with NFTs and like courses and stuff like that. So I hate the get rich quick stuff. It makes me so mad.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What's shameful is the cost of groceries these
Oh my
days.
gosh.
My God.
It's devastating every time I go to this grocery store.
One grocery trip costs as much as a Gucci belt. That's insane.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know that.
A Gucci
How
belt.
much a Gucci belt?
Okay, this was in 2019 though. The very first time, it was when they were going like super viral, and I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want one of those belts. And so I looked it up, and I was like, no, I don't. It was like $680 in 2019. Now I'm gonna check. Inflation may have hit Gucci as well, but I was like,
could
why
not.
would you spend that much on one belt? And now that's when I spend to go to Costco just to restock for the
Literally.
month.
Yeah.
Literally.
I don't.
I ordered a dupe. It was $32. It was worth it, and I still have it.
The Gucci index.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something called the, I forget the actual name. It's like the prostitute index. So,
Where are we going with this?
So the industry that can forecast a recession the most accurately are like the sex work
Oh,
industry.
really?
Yeah. When they have a rough month, when strippers have a rough month, you can
Oh
actually
my
track that the
gosh.
economy is going to catch up to that rough month in 6 to 9 months. It's
I see
insane.
that because there's no extra money for people to spend
Yeah.
on that.
I-
I mean, it
correct.
makes sense to me.
That's the first thing
Yeah.
to go. You're staying home. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So,
How crazy.
I can do this for free.
yeah. Not in this economy.
Not in this
Not in this economy.
I cannot.
Gucci has discounted. They're now $420. That's still too damn much money for a belt.
Nobody wants them
That
anymore.
makes
Nobody
it-
can
yeah,
afford them
exactly.
anymore.
Nobody can afford that. It's just insane. It's kind of the same with like I am a big Caraway lover, like the non-toxic
yeah,
pans.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge Caraway fan. It's the way to go if you ask me. But they're like $400 for four, so it can well, it's like an 8.
I want
'cause it
those,
has
but I
lids.
can't afford them.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're pricey, but they're beautiful and they work well and they're non-toxic and all those things. But I hate that everything now feels
Oh, yeah.
like
So
it's a
expensive.
huge hit. Like getting a vacuum, it's like a good vacuum's like
Especially if you want
$800.
nice things, good quality, great for
Yes.
you things, it's really expensive.
Yes, because you don't want to waste your money in the long term. It's like I want to buy a good quality product that's going to last me the next 10 to 15 years. I don't want to buy this $100 thing that's going to break next year, and then I'm going to have to do another one and
Yeah.
another
Right.
one. Eventually, you end up spending the money that you would have spent on that nicer product. But God, things are just so
much.
expensive that it's like people can't even get ahead enough to buy the higher quality
Yeah.
thing. We're all looking for the cheaper option now just to survive.
And sometimes it's what you got to do. Like in business, I would love this $600 like 8-piece panini press that can
Yeah.
do like 8 paninis at a time. We can't justify that volume. So
Right.
I'd rather buy 2 smaller panini presses and do 4 at a time. But
Yeah.
eventually, we're buying a new press every month.
Yeah.
And eventually we're going to spend what we would have spent on that
other one,
But,
but-
it's like the initial cost is not, and like people
Yeah.
can't do that, And so
Right.
I was listening to a great video this morning about the economy because like I love tracking the economy. Like everything's a bubble right now.
Ben's
Everything.
so big
Yeah.
into this type
Not
of
just
stuff. If
real
you ever
estate.
have a question about any of this baloney, Ben
No, it's not.
knows it all.
Baloney.
To me, it's gibberish. I'm
I
like,
enjoy being informed because there's not a whole lot that I can do. I'm not a politician. I'm not a major corporation who can buy politicians. So all I can do is pay attention to what's happening. So I'm not like, I don't wake up one morning and the power's off. And it's
I
off
feel like one of
forever.
us have to be because my husband does the same thing. He
Yeah, no,
marks
not
it,
me.
and so me, I don't have to because he's doing it.
Yep.
So I think it's a good
My
thing to
wife's
have.
the same way.
Yeah,
I don't watch.
You'll
the
let me know if
news
it's
or do
important.
any of
You'll let
that.
me know
I'll
if it's
text
important.
you guys and be like, hey, you're not going to have electricity for
Right.
the next 7 months.
Right.
Get ready.
Ben, don't get them going.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Everything's
Look at his
great.
eyes. He's kidding.
Everything's great.
You're terrifying.
Well, it's just like,
You guys should see the text messages he sends me. I'm like, Ben.
Terrifying.
Ben.
what are you talking? You're giving people the wrong idea. I'm not doomsday.
He's not. He's not. He's not.
Being prepared and being honest is
He's
not
realistic.
being a doomsday. I get this. I used to get so
I'm
much
going to Ben's
shit
house if shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
when, the politicians in our town. I won't name which town I'm talking about, but everyone they are very self-aggrandizing. They love giving themselves awards and stuff like that. And anytime you call that out and call out mismanagement, everybody's like, "Oh, you're being negative."
I know.
Stop. Why are we so afraid to be honest? Like, if somebody's doing a shit job, how am I supposed to compliment sandwich that? Paige, you are very kind and funny. You're running this town into bankruptcy, but I really love that party you put on last
And you
week.
should get an award for it.
Yeah. I want to give you an award for that party you put on, but we are
Thank
all
you.
going broke and the roads are falling apart.
Well, they would accept it.
And then they go on Facebook like, he's negative, he's a naysayer, he doesn't believe in the town. But that's the way it is with the economy. Like, people just wanted to write you off as like a doomer, but like, we have to be and everybody knows. Everybody who doesn't like me, everybody who doesn't want me to be on the mic knows that I'm going to shoot straight. And I'm going to be honest. And like sometimes you have to be critical about reality so that you can improve. You can
I get it.
I have to look at my business sometime and be like, I need to stop, buying this product, or I need to cut labor, or I need to maybe downgrade the quality of milk, which I never downgrade the quality of milk. But you have to be honest. Like, otherwise, I did consultations for a guy who had a coffee shop up there, and at one point he had just started his coffee shop, and he was paying people like $12+ an hour, and it was destroying his business. He could not afford it. He didn't have the sales to justify paying people $12 an hour. And I told him, I was like, you've taken out 2 payday loans to pay your employees.
Yeah.
If you continue this, they're going to be unemployed. So you either need to drop their pay or close your business.
Yeah.
I can't be like, dude, you're doing a great job.
No.
Hey, you're doing such a
You sometimes
good job.
got to take a,
No,
you got to know
are
what
horribly
it is.
mismanaging. Like, you need a dose of reality. And so he dropped their pay, and he was able to, survive until he sold the business. And so just, I love being educated. I will admit, again, I probably get too far into learning some of this stuff and knowing what's going on. And so I give myself limits on my YouTube commentaries and stuff that I watch and the news that I read, because I don't want to be so obsessed with what's going on outside of me that I'm not paying attention to my life. And so,
they say you can know too many things too.
this is true. We have access to more negativity and more knowledge than anybody in history has ever had.
Exactly. You can open the app and I can scroll 5 times and 3 of them will be something that's negative or sad.
There's actually a study that says that in our lifetime, in one of us as a millennial, we have been exposed to more negativity in the first 45 minutes of our day than somebody in the 50s would have been in their entire lifespan.
You're correct, 100%.
Because information is so easily accessible. It's at our fingertips, where it wasn't. I mean, I remember when Google was created.
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean, it used to not be like that. I mean, I remember when Kim Kardashian's ass broke the internet because it's what created Google Images. So,
crazy.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. So
I was an Ask Jeeves guy. I
Were you an Ask Jeeves?
Ask Jeeves, 100%. And then,
I'll still ask Jeeves.
dude.
Still there?
I remember the early
it's
internet
still
was great.
there.
Still there?
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's still there.
They give you different information.
Is that what they say? All those companies, DuckDuckGo, all that, dude. They all drag Google. They all drag Google.
Oh my God, I cannot.
Goodness, Ben. Okay, so let's talk about you as a dad. 6 kids, man. 6. Did you always want a big family?
Yeah. So I remember, I was a little homeschool kid, but I remember even as like an 11, 12-year-old, I always just wanted to be like a dad and a husband. That was like my dream. And so I thought I was going to go in the military. I really did. I was like gung-ho. I mean, I was a 9/11 kid. When I was in like first, second grade, maybe kindergarten, I don't remember.
Are you younger than me?
I'm 29.
He is younger than us.
I'll be
We
damned.
talked about this.
I'll be 30 this year.
Still
But
younger
I remember
than us.
watching the towers fall. And like,
Me too.
I remember like listening to my mom speak with such like vitriol and hatred about the people who did it, which like, of course, everybody was. We were all united as Americans.
Right.
And these guys were going down. I remember going to school the next day and like, this is very smart. Because what the hell do you do as a school district when your country's been attacked? Well, they were like, we're going to just take time to process this, which they don't do today. But I remember like we were drawing our feelings. And like, I remember drawing like a really detailed picture of like bombers dropping bombs on like the desert and stuff like that. And I was like 6, 7,
Especially for kid comprehension.
Yeah. And so I was really gung-ho. I thought like, I'm going to join the military. I'm going to get married, have a kid, get a Dodge Charger at 25% interest, like do the whole thing. And
a Dodge Charger. That says so much.
No, that's like the joke. It didn't end up happening, which I'm grateful for. But I got married young. That was my first marriage, and got married, after a tragedy. But she and I had, 3 very beautiful, very wonderful kids, and we got a divorce. We have a great, very amicable, workable relationship. She's great. She's joked about, all of us getting a giant piece of land and living in a compound together.
Yeah.
And
I
think she would really do it. And so, but
important.
with Amanda, we met, we worked together.
Amanda's his current wife.
Amanda is my wife.
Is my wife.
Is my wife. That does sound a little.
Current wife makes sense. He's gonna have another one.
Ex-wife.
She's my wife for the next 2 to 3 years, right? No, she's my wife.
Until I can steal her.
No.
She's an angel.
Paige, stop stealing people's wives, Paige.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Well, but you were divorced. You were a single dad for how long?
3 years. So, and I was a single dad entrepreneur for 3 years. And we had about 50-50 custody. At the time, if you asked her, it was like 57%, 43%. But it was, it's 50-50. And I'm gonna cut that out. Because that was no, she's very nice now.
Now.
It's relatable.
And boom. So yeah, we had about 50-50 custody. We were homeschooling. And so I would spend half my week at home with the kids. And, I was running a business during the pandemic, and it was very tough, very difficult. There were times, that food stamps saved our lives. And I sold my entire childhood Pokemon collection at a time. Cause not only after we survived the pandemic, my partner and I at the time had a split. So, I had to leave the location we were at with my business. She started a new coffee shop where we were, and then I had to move to a location down the road, which was like a terrible location. So we went from making pretty decent money to making no money, and I had no way to provide consistent income. So I sold Pokemon cards, and
gotta do what you gotta do.
I sold Pokemon cards. I also, at that time, by the grace of God, I had traded like stocks in 2016, 2017, and I got a good tip on some WWE, which is not insider trading. It was just a vibe based on news we heard. And I made a ton of money off WWE, but I was tired. Stock trading is exhausting.
Yeah.
And I had a business I was running at the time. So I just bought this little stupid thing called Dogecoin. I was
my God, Mark did the same thing.
I was just like, I'll buy like, 39, 40,000 of these little Dogecoins that are worthless. Well, in 2021, they weren't worthless all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden it blew up.
I got a huge boost to my finances that kind of saved my ass as everything. And the house that I was staying in was great. It was really run down, but I was only paying like $875 a month for it in 2021. Obviously that they tried to pull that up to $1,400 in 2023, which I did not pay. Yeah. But it was rough. It was rough homeschooling. It was rough, it was tough, and it required a lot of sacrifice, and required being very savvy, and it required losing a lot of my pride, because getting on government assistance sucks. Some people live for it and that's their prerogative. But for me, it really felt like, cause I'm a man and I'm a Hispanic man. So I was failing hardcore, and it was just, I felt like I was fighting a war. I was fighting my former partner. I was fighting, people in the town who wanted to see me fail. I was trying to maintain a relationship with Amanda. I was also trying to learn video at the time. And so it was just
all the things at one time.
I was trying to homeschool my kids.
Yeah.
And straight up, I sucked at homeschooling them that year. I didn't have a good flow for it. And obviously you learn how to do it. Now it's great. It's a great flow. And the homeschool co-op we joined really helped kind of bolster my confidence. And then teaching that co-op also helped me in teaching my kids. So yeah, I was a single dad for 3 years.
Then
kids.
You figured it out.
Yeah. I figured it out. I mean, sink or swim,
Yeah.
I didn't have a support system. I had Amanda, and her family was great. My family was in East Texas. They kind of kept their distance during my divorce just because they were conflicted about that. They're very traditional, and they felt that divorce.
For better or worse.
Yeah. And to be honest, it pisses Amanda off, but I really empathize with them, because I think I don't remember people actively telling me hey, you should not get married after this terrible tragedy you've just been through. You should pump the brakes. But I do know my parents expressed some concern, and I always was mad at them for not expressing enough concern, but they had also just been through that terrible tragedy. So it's kind of out of my place to be well, you should have tried to stop me more, when they were also broken in the same way. So our church really failed us, and our church leadership failed us. And
that's an interesting story that Ben's hinting on.
Interesting story.
That would be a full episode in itself.
Yeah.
You guys, we would have to hit some real true crime.
The last time I did it was a 2-part. It was 2.5, 3 hour podcast that I did on it, and it's still ongoing. But yeah,
if y'all would be interested
in the true crime,
a real true crime with Ben,
genuine,
terrible tragedy,
that's still his life right now.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Active.
Yeah.
Yes, active. Almost going on a decade of living out that tragedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was not a good time. It was not easy. I definitely, there was a time where I was just kind of losing my mind. And then I really kind of focused in on Stoic philosophy, which every cheesy guy does. I know people are rolling their eyes right now. I've always been kind of a Stoic person, in the negative way, just pushing my feelings down, but learning about just accepting. I accepted. I had to move my business. I'm not making enough money. I've got this money until it runs out. I'm on food stamps. I accepted it. And then once I accepted it, I could just decide what to do with my situation. Instead of, I feel like a lot of people, they combat their situation I can't believe this. I hate this. It sucks.
But that's what it is.
It's life. Okay, now what are we going to do? It's
right.
I'm going to work, 80 hours a week to push this business to make enough money to afford employees so I can take time off. And then once I was able to afford employees and continue to pay myself, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've earned it.
But then you got into another relationship during all of that, right? So was there a time in between, when you were single, that before you married Amanda, that you had you started to figure it out? Or do you feel like you found Amanda and you guys figured it out together?
So we dated. We started dating at the end of 2020, and we'd known each other for a while, and it was just kind of, I think everybody knew it was inevitable based on how close we were working together.
Yeah.
But we
all
were,
thought y'all were before you ever were.
Yeah.
We were like, they're together.
Everybody did. Yeah. That was great. That was
That's
always fun
good
dealing
vibes,
with
though. That means it was meant to be.
Cute.
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
like, if y'all aren't together, you should be.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
see it.
I think we figured it out separately, and that was where a lot of our conflict came from, is because we were, we weren't married.
Yeah.
We couldn't be married at the time. But you get to a point of closeness in the relationship where it's like, well, you might as well be. But economically, logistically, there was no way to work it out. So we were having to discover our separate identities as parents in post-divorce, while also maintaining a joint identity in a relationship, and it caused a lot of conflict and a lot of tension. So we kind of had to figure it out separately. And I think once we figured it out separately, that's when things really gelled, and it was able to be like, okay, now we should.
But that's
move forward.
important.
Yeah,
You said that y'all had to figure it out because she was also going through that, 3 kids,
Yeah.
like
And a divorce.
Yes, absolutely.
Which sucks,
Yeah.
What made you decide to homeschool? Is it just because you were homeschooled yourself? You were like, it was a good experience
We
for
should
me.
bring Jay in for this.
yeah,
So we're already in. He
yeah.
wanted to ask Ben about homeschooling.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Let's bring Jay in for Jay's Corner.
Jay's Corner.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Jay. Welcome back, Jay.
We told Jay to yell into the mic.
Oh, I'm
He
so
needs to be
happy
louder.
here.
I said he gets in a different persona when he's on camera.
Literally, he's never this like
Never,
hello.
ever.
That's so interesting because I don't know. I just come
Look,
in
he's doing.
here.
Look, you're doing it right now.
It's so interesting.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's the microphone.
Does it make you
just like-
nervous and timid?
Oh my
No,
god.
I just feel like I'm coming in here to just kind of vibe and give some great advice. So maybe I just chill, Jay.
They call that the radio
Not
DJ
like-
voice.
He has
right?
it. He all of a sudden gets the really sultry.
Hello,
Yeah.
welcome to Mom's the Word. This is Daddy Jay.
Cindy's like, you just need to be who you are every day. And I was like,
He's loud in public.
I
in
am
person.
very loud. I will say that. Okay.
You know when we're all together because it's loud.
Yeah.
So we brought Jay in because we want to talk about homeschooling, and Jay is now a homeschooling parent.
Yes.
One of us.
I think it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
That we've been homeschooling, and it has been a journey.
Yeah. It's something
been-
Ben actually mentioned when he was starting homeschooling, that he had a hard time getting into a schedule. And Jay is having that problem. And I keep telling him, like, well, it's going to happen. You're going to figure it
Yeah.
out.
You
Like,
know,
it's really hard.
It was very challenging because I think in my mind still, maybe 2 weeks ago, I still have the fact that I'm like, am I not teaching him enough? Because you literally finish school in maybe like say 2 hours, sometimes 2.5, 3, depends on how the day is and how Grayson's feeling in the moment. And I'm like, then he has the rest of the day to just do blogs, play with his kids, oh Lord Jesus, play with his brothers and sisters, and then we give him some tablet time and stuff. But I'm like, am I not doing enough? Is he not learning enough? But I think the mentality comes from kids are in school for 8 hours,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, they were learning for 8 hours, so then we should be teaching them for 8 hours. But I'm like, if you really think about when they're in school, they're not learning for those
No.
8 hours.
No.
They're transitioning between classes, between people, because the teachers need to prep and stuff.
Right.
And so realistically, it's not that much, but I think you start getting like a parent guilt of like, am I not teaching him enough? Am I not gonna teach him enough where he'll be able to succeed? And so that has been a challenge. And then obviously you work. And so managing that schedule is intense.
It
for
is.
Sure.
It's a lot. Yeah, getting out of the public school mindsets, it took me a while. It took me a while. And my ex-wife especially, she was like, oh, our kids aren't doing this at this level and they should be doing this at this level. And it's like, okay, well, first and foremost, everybody talks about reading, right? Like most kids in public school can read by like kindergarten or first grade.
Right.
And they're always like, so, by 6 or 7, your kids should be reading fluently, reading chapter books. And like every kid's different. Public
Right.
school does not provide any individuality. On the other token, at this juncture, kids are learning to read at like 6 to 7. And then they're graduating with like a second grade reading level still. They don't ever advance beyond that. You know what I mean? And so homeschool gives you this chance to like hone in on your kids' individual strengths.
Yep.
And teach them that way. And also like, how many of you guys have actually used the Pythagorean theorem in the past decade?
No.
No, you don't do that?
I don't even know what that is.
No.
I was, excuse me?
It's like a squared plus b squared equals.
Yeah, it's fine.
I know what it is.
But you know what's funny is remember when they would say, you need to learn math because you're not going to have a calculator in your hand.
Oh, I
And it's like,
know.
well, we do now.
I know. I know. Homeschool gives you a chance to like develop your kids specifically to their strengths, and it is awkward at first because you do have to break that mindset and you do feel like you're failing them if you're not You know, my kids, I sit down with each of them individually. We do their English, we do their math. For CC that week, we'll cover like the science, the geography, whatever, history, and then we're done. You know, and it's maybe 45 minutes to an hour per kid.
Yeah.
I've got 5 kids to get through, and then we're done.
And it's hard for people to like realize like that's how long it takes. And like, especially like for me, if there's math, like even a new lesson and he masters it quickly, I'm moving on.
Yep.
And then if there's something we need to go back on, we'll go back on, you know, multiple times.
Excuse me, sir. We're recording, sir.
We just have a special
He
guest.
said I have to come visit.
We don't know his name, but he's
homeschooled,
a
so.
perrito.
Hey, buddy. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're so sweet.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, let him come over.
He's like,
Red Rover,
what
Red
the
Rover.
hell's going on in here?
Hello,
Let the-
puppy.
Are you pet? This is Dog's the Word.
I think that's Maverick.
Why do you know their
Maverick.
Maverick's the one who always
Jackson
comes.
Maverick.
Oh shit, Maverick's stuck.
That's Jax. That's Maverick.
He's gonna come.
I know.
He's gonna come.
He's like, I visited Dad.
Hi. I love that there's dogs here.
Thank you.
Literally love it so
I
much.
love that stuff.
They're so cute.
I forgot what we were talking
But
about.
anyways, so
You were going to talk about that thing that me and Paige don't know.
Oh no, I was just
the
mentioning that
theory.
like the school. I don't want to get too conspiracy, but like the public education system was really founded and strengthened post World War II as the factory culture was at an all-time high, and so it's conditioning people to be good like workers. You know, where else in your life do you go for 8 to 9 hours a day? You have a lunch break and you maintain this structure of order. It's like the corporate job. It's like, which to each their own, but that doesn't work for everybody. Like nobody taught me how to run a business. Which granted, I was homeschooled up until high school, and then I went to public school. And talking my parents into letting me go to public school is one of my greatest regrets because I regressed immensely. Like,
it's interesting to hear from you because you were homeschooled.
Yeah, my thought is like, why did you want to move into public school? And
Probably
what
interested.
advice would you give to like parents who are homeschooling that have children to do that, to try to talk them out of putting them into public?
I wanted to get into public school because of girls.
Ah.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was coming.
I met this girl at church. And
Oh,
she was
yeah.
nifty galifty, and we dated for a year, and then we broke up. And then 2 years later, I was dating somebody else, and I learned that everything my first girlfriend had told me was a lie. She had completely lied to me about who she was, her life. She made up fake people on MySpace to talk to
her
me
at
that were
church?
her. Yeah. I met her.
You got
That does
catfish?
happen.
She made up fake people to talk to me and like antagonize me.
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
bizarre. I know. I
Martha.
know the truth. I'm not going to name you, but I know the truth.
It's
We
baby
all
reindeer.
know.
It's baby reindeer.
Looking at
my phone.
Oh God, yeah.
We all
baby
know.
No, but in retrospect, like it was so stupid. Like my 8th grade year. So technically, I got in like the 2nd semester of 8th grade, and then through high school, I was in an algebra class, and my first day in algebra, I get this like little worksheet, and I solve it. I've been doing algebra since I was in like 5th grade. I solve it, turn it in.
Oh my gosh.
I get a 52 on that paper. And do you know what she wrote at the top of the page? Anybody want to guess why I got a 52?
You didn't show
Did you
your
not
work?
put your name?
Show your work.
Show your work.
Show your work.
Show your work.
Yeah.
Guess what, Miss Sunda? It was all up here.
Yeah.
I could solve algebra in my head.
I literally hate that because my son now, he can literally solve things so quickly, maybe faster than me because I'm
Yep.
so used to showing my work. And Chris is like, my husband, he's like, you just let him do it because to me, if he's solving in his head, it's better than showing your work.
Absolutely.
And so like, oh, I agree completely. And we all homeschool for
that is
different
an annoying
reasons, you guys.
factor.
yeah. I got most improved in algebra my 8th grade year by dumbing
Oh my
myself
God.
down. I got an award. I had to go up on stage. It was the most patronizing thing in the entire world because I knew I got the award.
Wow.
Because I dumbed myself down. And that's at the stage. I stopped trying. I just kind of coasted on like
Yeah.
A's and B's and like focused on socializing. I did Model United Nations my junior year. That was a lot of fun. I found a real passion doing that. And then my senior year, I did concurrent enrollment at the university. So I didn't have to be on the high school campus at all my senior year. I was just a college student.
Yeah.
And man,
Well, are you going to homeschool now forever?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
your plan is to
absolutely.
homeschool.
What if they ask you to
Yeah,
go
what
to
if they're
public
like,
school?
Then
there's a
I-
girl that wants to catfish me
Well-
and I want to let her.
So my parents, I'm trying to remember the my mom didn't want me to date anybody. She didn't like. I got grounded for dating initially.
I'm sure.
And like that was so ineffective. It wasn't. That,
Yeah,
like,
it
there-
is ineffective, parents. It
My,
doesn't
my
work.
parents like didn't want to explain stuff to me the right way. So like for my kids, I'll shoot straight with them.
That's
I'll be-
right.
I like they kind of know. Like we played laser tag with a bunch of public school kids yesterday. My kids saw firsthand, like there's a difference culturally. You know what I mean? They were all like
the way they talk.
Straight up. They were dropping like skibbity toilets and like all this weird lingo that made no,
I have no idea.
sense.
Yeah.
They were like, do it for baby Gronk. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking
They
about,
speak their own language.
They do.
And
They really do.
But what we're doing in our homeschool co-op right now is we're acknowledging like we have to teach our kids and raising them up to be effective in the world, but we also have to teach them how to interact with their peers in the world. And there is a cultural divide that is ever growing between like homeschool crunchy people and like non people. And I don't want to make it sound like this like judgment type divide, but like there is a significant cultural difference. You know, people used to think that like Gen Z and stuff, because I'm employing Gen Z now, and people used to think like, oh, they're the most technologically gifted generation, but I'm learning they're
pulling
not.
Away from it.
The current generations that are coming up, like Gen Alpha, they are social media savvy, and that's it. They don't know how to work a computer. They don't know how to maintain computers. They don't know how to use Google to learn the most basic, which most of you don't. Use Google to learn facts that you've been wondering about for over a decade. Like they are not tech savvy. They are social media savvy, and it's like COVID also just like wrecked the public school system.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm on like Reddit looking at, you know, game subreddits and stuff like that, I get recommended the teacher subreddit a lot. And those are the most depressing posts I've ever read in my life. Every teacher's morale is at an all-time low.
They're
getting hog
because they
by the
work
district.
so hard. Those teachers work
just
so
don't
hard.
care.
I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, if you think about most teachers have 18 to 20 kids.
That's what I was just thinking in my head. Can you
And to
imagine?
be able to handle all of that, I mean, that's not an easy job. And then it's not like they get paid a lot of money.
Nope.
Would you think that they would get paid more money? Because in essence, they're helping build the future.
Oh my God, I wish they
And
would. Yeah.
it's so underappreciated. And then if they speak up,
Yeah.
they're shamed.
And now a lot of teachers are pulling out and teaching homeschool pods now
Yep.
and things like that and making way more money that
Yeah.
way. And from what Ben
Not
said,
at
so
risk.
millennials and Gen Z, that's what's after us. They are actually going to be the next two generations of the most homeschoolers ever.
Yeah.
And it's already like so high, but most people are now, not most, I'm sorry, a lot more are pulling their children out of public schools. And it's sad because it's not the teachers that are failing them. It's a whole system.
It's
And
the
so-
entire system.
Oh yeah, and so I feel very grateful that I do get to homeschool because it's not lost on me that some of you want to and you cannot.
Yeah.
Like we're very grateful that we have that, but I think that there's going to be a lot of change in the school systems.
I think if you are one of those parents that wants to homeschool and isn't able to, so like Kyler and I are able to homeschool because we have a flexible schedule and our job is amazing. We
You
have
work
the
from home.
flexibility.
Yeah.
And we work from home. So we're able to do it on our lunch or breaks. The other thing is when you're homeschooling, it doesn't have to be at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. That's something that I had to learn because I felt like as soon as you had to wake up, we'd have to start immediately learning. And then I realized that Grayson is an afternoon. So the one thing with homeschooling is you do not have to do it in traditional hours. And that's something that I had to learn. And I would copy Paige and Cyndi. And I was like, I felt like I had to do it in the morning. But learning Grayson's style is he is more better at, or like more focused to learn in the afternoons.
Oh yeah.
So then we were doing it in the morning and it was like taking forever and it wasn't like he wasn't focused and he was crabby. When we do it in the afternoon, sometimes even late afternoon, it's a lot better. He's more focused. He's in it. And so now, but then there's still my mind where I'm like, oh, he's watching TV. He should be learning.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just the training of that.
Takes
but
a little time. It'll
You have to
take time.
cater to his needs.
what I would
though.
say
That's nice.
is, what I would say for the parents who don't have the flexibility and aren't able to homeschool is just try to be as involved as possible at the school, going to the school, advocating for your child,
That's
making
right.
sure that they're getting all the services that they need. You can ask for an IEP meeting, which is an independent, individualized education plan, which basically you can get services that are available that the school has to provide for your child, and you can get that done. It doesn't have to be for anything specific. You can ask for additional resources for your child to succeed and try to be as involved as possible. And, even if you're have a little bit of time in the afternoon, just go sit down and read a book with them or try to go over their homework or something and advocate from your child from that standpoint, and then just check on to see how they're doing. Because I feel like a lot of children, or at least for me, when I went to school, I went through a lot of things in school that I didn't like, and homeschooling wasn't an option, or I don't don't know. We had never heard
It
of
was.
that
It
when
was just
I was.
more rare because I
Yeah. It
remember
was
kids
so
in our
rare.
It had a
neighborhood.
stigma,
It
real
did.
bad stigma.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they were the weird kids.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even now people think that children who are homeschooled.
But keep in mind, he was in my area, and we were around the same age, so he was the homeschool kid that we knew.
We were
was
the
the homeschool
we were the
jungle freak.
outliers. Okay, we were the outliers in our
He
homeschool
was
group.
the weird kid.
No,
I don't know.
We
And
were
people,
cool. We were
people
cool.
still have that mentality that children that are homeschooled are not socially, what do you call it? Like, do you know
they're
what
not
I'm talking about?
Socialized.
That they're not socialized. And like, but what's going to happen? I'm like, first of all, Grayson has 4 siblings. He's going to be very socialized.
yep.
Well, your
Just-
parents are
just
very already. You guys are you and Kyler are already very like outspoken and
Yeah.
social.
Yeah, but I think that people just don't understand. Like, there's first of all, they have siblings, or maybe if they're only child, there are homeschool co-ops that you can go out.
Oh,
there
I'm
and
never
do.
home.
She ain't never home. She didn't tell a lie either. Cause
No, we're in music. We're in clubs. We're in co-ops. We're
Yeah.
in
there was actually a cooking class today
Yes.
for homeschool. And I thought that would have been amazing. And
Yep.
I love to cook. Grayson likes to cook. And so I
so
told Cyndi,
cute.
I said, we should go do this. And she's like, Jay, we're filming the podcast. I was like, oh, Lord
There's so many
almighty.
great resources.
But there is homeschool co-ops where you can take your children and have them be
Yep.
socialized
Oh, yeah.
or get the socialization that they need. But I think homeschooling is amazing. But the one thing that I'll say is because people always ask me, why is Grayson homeschooled and Amor is not? And for me personally, like I didn't go and set out like, oh, all my children are going to be homeschooled. For us, what we're going to do is Ari starts pre-K in August next year. And so he'll start pre-K. And so will Talia and Kingston the following year. And if that works for them, then that works for them. And if it doesn't, then we'll pull them and we'll homeschool
Right.
them. Like I ask Amor, we talk about her day every day. And I said, how do you like school? She's like, I love it. When I don't go to school, I'm sad.
Yeah.
She's like, I love my friends. I like this. And she gives me a list of everything that she likes and how she likes to learn and stuff. And Grayson doesn't.
It's individualized.
He didn't like it. And
You,
so,
you're doing what that child needs. Which
yes.
is,
And I
it's
tell
amazing.
people all the time, because sometimes that question kind of irks me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Because no children are the same. Like even all of our children, we could put them in the same room and you would see the differences. You would see some similarities, but everyone is different. And if you have that mindset where cookie cutter for your approach in parenting or teaching or anything like that with your children, that just
never
doesn't
gonna
work.
work.
Like
Yeah.
you have to individualize. Like
That's
all
when
of us
labels
ourselves
happen.
learn
Yeah.
and think differently. So you have to personalize everything for the child, the way that you speak with them, the way that you teach
Yeah.
them, and everything. But I think people forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta
Yeah.
stop generalizing children.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's our responsibility to educate our children.
Yeah.
Whether you're sending them to public school or homeschool, it is your responsibility overall to make sure that they're getting what they need
Yeah.
in order to survive in life. Like that's so important to me. Like some people are like, well, I just send them to school. The teacher will do it. No, that's not what it is.
It's not their responsibility
No.
either
No.
to figure out what's going on with your child.
No, it's your, and even if they're going every single day and you think they're learning, it's your responsibility to make sure they know what they're doing. Like we are in charge of that. And I think that's really important because a lot of teachers think that they're burnt out because kids go home and they're not, having help. And this is also homeschool. Like you really have to make sure that you're, hitting targets and things like that. And it's just so important. But I think individualized, academics for each child is so important.
And it's you got to disregard this like obsession with convenience.
Yeah.
It's not convenient. Nothing in life is convenient.
No.
Nothing about my life is convenient. But I do it because it's necessary.
Yes.
Like you said, I love the way you put that. It is your responsibility.
Yeah.
They're going to give your kid a baseline.
Yes.
And if you want your kid to be a baseline person, roll with it. If you want them to be more than just baseline, you have to invest in them. And it's not convenient. For the people who can't homeschool, a lot of single parents.
Yes,
A lot of single parents,
absolutely.
You have to
A
go
lot
to
of
work.
single
And
parents.
like public school is a great convenience. It is like state daycare, and you need that so you can not be homeless. And I understand that, but you have to also then figure out a way to invest in your kid. Like if they're passionate about reading, get them books, read with them. Like we read aloud with our kids every night. And yesterday, my daughter, let me breathe real quick.
He's very passionate.
I just
guys.
crouched down to check all the cameras. So my legs. So my daughter had these like, Star Wars books that she was reading, and my youngest son Henry came and sat down next to her, and he wanted to take one. So he can't read, but he wanted to look at the pictures, and she got so upset. She's like, "I am reading those, Henry." And like I went in there to tell her like, "Hey, you can't hog all the books," but also what a great like way to have to discipline her, because she's like sitting there like reading all of them. But you have to like our oldest Eli, he loves Harry Potter. So Amanda got so lucky. He taught himself how to read
Harry
at like 2 or 3.
Potter.
She got
Amazing.
super lucky, and she admits she didn't do anything. He just came out of the womb like that. But we have to
pretty cool.
cultivate his interest by getting him challenging books to read. William, my son William, is really into, the way things work. He loves STEM type stuff. He loves robots. He loves build. So we invest in that. And you have to learn your kids' individual joys and then invest in that. Like do $20, $15.
Lean
you can find
into
STEM
it.
kits that are really cheap. Art kits. Like my daughter loves to create art. And so 200 sheets of paper, it's like $9 at Office Depot, and crayons are like 25 cents. And then she will just like encourage her. Listen, I just have to listen to her when she draws a picture, challenge her sometimes, She's like, I'm drawing myself as Black Widow. And it's like, it's a kid person drawing. It was a kid person drawing 6 months ago. And I was like, that's awesome. Like continue to practice. And now she's doing pretty good. And so it's not convenient, and it will never be convenient. But if you don't embrace the inconvenience, the person who really suffers is your kid,
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I think if I've taken anything from this episode today is that you're a very involved father.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing to see because, well, not everybody gets that, right?
Right.
It's a privilege.
And so
it really
that
is.
is amazing that you have
Yes.
prioritized your time, even when you were a single father in the streets out there making it work. You were still prioritizing.
That's right.
I made it work with like under $36,000 a year.
Yeah.
With
I
a
did.
traumatized
Yeah.
young man, frankly. That story is going to be pretty intense
Yeah.
for people
It's
to
good.
hear,
Yeah.
but
It's
it
good.
definitely, I think, peels back who you are and why
Absolutely.
things matter
We're gonna have to share
so
that.
deeply to
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's amazing. So good job on that. So I saw this video on TikTok, and the video, I'm sure y'all seen, it's like a trend where the child or the daughter, the first video that I saw was this girl, and it was her mom and her dad, and so she tells her dad all of the information, and then so she'll
Yes.
ask the questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my thought when I'm listening to that video, and this is getting a little deeper, and it's probably not even that deep, but
I don't know. What
This
we're talking.
trend is where the girl sets up a phone,
Like the
right?
daughter.
And there's a mom and dad sitting next
But
to each
she
other, and the
gave-
daughter's
yes.
asking questions, but she's already, even if she doesn't give the dad the answers, she says the dad's right every single time.
Yeah. So then
Oh.
basically what I got is that she did give him the answers and he knows all the answers. So he answers before the mom and the mom's getting upset. But when I saw that video, I thought to myself, it kind of paints the picture that there's dads that
Who
don't
don't know.
their children.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's why she has to feed the
Yeah.
dad,
Yeah.
the parent, the questions. And so the mom's upset because she's supposed to know. But I'm like, since when did it come where I understand, right, that there are differences in parents and stuff like that. But I was like, I mean,
There's another one right now
don't
that's
know.
like, if you have a toddler or a young child, you sit the dad down, you ask like, what size diaper is they in? When do they take their naps? Like all the things, and a lot of dads they don't know.
but
Interesting.
the reason, the thing that kind of irks me a little bit on that is that it seems to be based off of the comments that people think that that's normal.
Yeah.
For a dad not to know that information, for a
Yeah.
dad not to know the specifics, and that it's okay. I'm like, I don't know. It just didn't. Well, me and Daddy.
I
Kyler-
think for a long
me and
time
Kyler are both
the dads like settled into not knowing anything about their kids. Like the traditional role that has been accepted is the wife is the caretaker and the dad is the provider.
don't like
Even
that.
if they're in a dual income household, dads still kind of think like, Dad, the baby's crying. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
Like with Amanda, like I'm just like, leave me alone. Like the baby's crying. I'm going to calm him down. And I do calm him down. It's like, chill. Like the other day I told her, I put all the kids in the backyard and we raked up all these pine needles and leaves and gave them to our chickens so they had something to do. And I was like, hey, you should take the kids to the store to get ice cream to celebrate the good job that they did. I'll stay here with the baby so you can go out. Because she's
Love
just
that.
been having to tell the kids to be quiet because there's a
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'll be fun for you to go out. And she was like, can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. And I'm like, you can.
do
Like,
that.
it's 15 minutes. If he's hungry, I'll give him some milk
Yeah.
from the fridge. Like, otherwise, he'll just sleep on me. And it's like, but dads do take a very passive role. And there's a lot of active dads right now. And congrats to you.
I think
Bravo.
this generation is different than the older generations are. I think it was more, and even for women, where we were more traditionally housewives, now that's changed, and I think it's changing for men too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of men that want to be dads,
Hell yeah.
that don't
Absolutely.
just have children, but they genuinely want to dive into fatherhood, and it's important
Yeah,
to
I
them.
think that's.
And I think a lot of dads now, where they didn't have that with their dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my
And
dad
that
was
could factor
definitely
in.
traditional, hard working man. My mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah,
And so I could
mine
definitely
too.
see that.
Yeah.
My dad worked 2 jobs. He was gone all the
Yeah.
time. It was
Yep.
very rare for him to be home.
Yep.
So, and it felt like a lot of the times whenever he was home, he was just the designated discipline. And so that then makes
Oh,
it difficult
yeah.
because he's the designated bad guy all the time. But then
Yeah.
you're never here either. You're just working all the time. So then as a child, my perspective was like, you don't even know me. You don't even know what I did. And you're angry at me for it because he was just designated that guy.
Mine was different. It was like the dad got to be the fun person and the mom had to do.
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to
That's
tell you. Is
me.
that
Like
in some
fun-
relationships,
fun dad.
one parent. I told Kyla this very early on. We are not doing this where you're the disciplinarian and I'm the fun one.
Absolutely
no, we
not.
are
Me
both
neither.
disciplining. We're both fun because
That's right.
it doesn't feel good.
It's
when you
interesting to
have
hear from
be
you because
that.
you guys are 2 dads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that we should not normalize for a father to not know. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's
Amen.
relationship is different.
Amen.
In my relationship, I don't think I would let Kyler normalize that
No.
where Kyler would be the one that didn't know nothing about the kids or wasn't involved or anything. I wouldn't do that myself. But I don't think that we should normalize where fathers don't know. And it's funny. It's like, oh, he's the dad. He's the father. It's like, no, they're his children as well. And they should be involved and they should be in there.
Yeah.
In the trenches.
The stigma of the incompetent dad needs to die with our
Yes.
generation.
Oh
and
my God,
I'm
that drives
seeing
me
it die,
insane.
which I'm very happy about. On the disciplinary note, y'all need to both discipline. It
Absolutely.
is not
Yes.
fair for one parent to be in charge of it because it does. Like my
It
dad,
does.
my dad was the disciplinarian. So when he opens the door, you have this anxiety
Yes.
because did I do something wrong? Am I going to get disciplined? Be a parent, both of you. Discipline the kids equally. Like mom, if the kid acts up, discipline it right there. Don't put it on dad to come home from work or to come home from the store, to come home from the gym and have to be the disciplinarian because your kid's going to grow up afraid
Yeah.
of their father instead of respecting the mutual authority that you guys work together to
Yes.
create. So
Yes.
I love.
Don't
I love
make
that
me
y'all
call your
send it.
dad.
Dude.
Oh,
F
gosh.
that, bro.
When me and Kyler first started, he would give me everything because I'm the more stern, more straightforward. And I was like, absolutely not. We're not going to be doing this. We both need to do this. And so now we do.
But you see how easy you vocalized? And you
Yes.
guys were foster parents, so you were able to see those big things. Like a lot of parents, when they have a newborn baby, you're growing with that baby, right? And so you guys got to grow
Yeah.
through multiple children, your relationship, but you vocalized it. So like,
Yes.
same for me, absolutely not. When I had a baby, Chris, you're helping me. Like,
Yeah.
and he was always so kind. Chris was great. But there were times that he was like, didn't know how to be a dad either. And we just had to grow, we had to learn that together. But I was very vocal. Like I always tell people, please be vocal
You
to your
have
your
to.
spouse.
Yeah.
You have to be vocal. In my opinion, if you do not vocalize your feelings, you're going to internalize
Absolutely.
them. And then those internal feelings are going to come out towards everybody, your
Everybody.
children. So you know how sometimes you snap at your kids? Because like, let's say they drop some Skittles. Is it really that serious? It's just a little bit of Skittles. Where you're like,
Yeah.
But really what's upsetting is that your partner's not listening to you. The house is a mess. You have all
Yeah.
these appointments.
And you're always the
and
one
you
to
have
pick up
so
the
much.
Skittles.
Yeah, for real. Taste the rainbow. But anyways, but what I would say is that you have to be vocal. You have to be
Been
vocal.
there, done that.
Oh, still there. You have to be vocal with your feelings because if not, you will internalize them and they will come out in different ways. And as a parent, you will see it come out on your children. And then you're like, my Lord, my poor baby spilled some milk. Is it that freaking serious? No.
Right.
And then you're like, Lord Jesus. But if you do that, just remember parents can apologize to their children
Yes.
and say, hey,
Yes.
I'm so sorry I yelled at you. I literally did it the other day. I was like, I am
Apologize.
so sorry I
love
yelled at you. Daddy shouldn't have yelled. Was it nice? Was that nice? And he was like, no. And I said, tell me, Daddy, that's not nice. He's like, that's not nice, Daddy.
That's right.
And so teaching them that, right? Because the respect and apologies can come both ways. And so I don't know if y'all have heard it, but my kids will literally tell me, that's not nice, Daddy, for everything.
that.
I will literally be telling them like, you need to go to bed. He's like, that's not nice, Daddy. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but you have to go to bed.
I think we're all
But
trying
I
our
think
best, all of us.
Yeah.
Try your
Yeah.
best and vocalize your feelings is
Yeah.
my tip of the day.
Yeah.
Well, today we've talked about a lot of things.
Yes.
We
we
guys.
have. We
I'm like,
have.
dang, Ben's episode, we just were like
We've
rolling
cut
and a
a lot of things,
rolling.
too.
Yeah.
Cut a lot of stuff out.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's going to be that way with all the dads.
And I,
know.
and I cannot wait for y'all to hear
Oh my
his
gosh.
story because
Yeah.
it's so powerful and
If you want to hear Ben's story, put down below. I want to duel with Ben.
Yes.
we need a duel with
We need a
Oh, we
duel
forgot
with
to have a
Ben.
fight. Damn.
Nah, it's
Yeah, we'll
not.
do
y'all
it
should
again.
do that trend on TikTok.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh, Ben.
I don't do trends.
You can see Ben's not on there.
You guys can just like Photoshop a picture of me in there
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
move it back and forth.
Anyways, this was great. Ben, we had a lot to talk about with Ben today.
Yeah.
We could probably keep going, but
We
were-
probably
Yeah, we got
could.
other. Mark's getting antsy over
Yeah.
there.
Well, we're going. Yeah, Mark's here. Mark's talking to all the
Oh
people.
my goodness. He literally made himself coffee. And if you know my husband, there's no reason for him to have any extra caffeine. So
So he's gonna be great this next
prepare
episode.
yourself for the next episode. Just
Yes.
buckle up, baby.
Well, thank you, Jay, for being with
You're
us.
welcome.
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you,
Jay.
and thank you
Jay.
for allowing us daddies to be
Oh
here.
yeah,
Of course.
We
Y'all are
need
just as
y'all.
important.
Yes,
We do.
Bye.
All right, Ben. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, Ben. Thanks
Behind
for
the cameras.
hanging out.
We loved it.
You're going to have to stick around, buddy,
Yes, I'm
because
stuck
we're
here.
certainly
We got
not done in any
Yep.
ways. Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. This has been Mom's the Word.
Where Mom knows best.
Or at least she's trying her best.
And Dad is too.
Dads are
I know
too.
that's right. They are. Bye, guys.
Happy Father's Day.